Hello and welcome. I am the Sterling and today we are playing Going Medieval. Over the past 49 episodes, we have built a wooden fort, replaced the wooden fort with a stone keep, built a cathedral, built a temple, and built our own place of faith, a pub, laid farms, raised livestock, built an amphitheatre, and watched as Sterlington has grown, sprawled, and prospered. And in this episode, we say farewell to Castle Sterlington and attempt to give it a worthy send-off. So sit back, grab a cold one, and let's get started. In the last episode, we completed the amphitheatre, which is fantastic. But I also mentioned it wasn't quite finished. The amphitheatre itself, yes, that's completed. But I actually want to add a little extra something to the area because I feel on its own, it's not quite grand enough. I think it needs a couple of little monuments just to round it off. So the first thing we're doing this episode, quite a bit of earthwork. And if you've ever watched the series, you know that I'm no stranger to doing earthwork. There's a lot of earthwork being done throughout the last 50 episodes. So honestly, why should the last episode of the series be any bloody different? It's all going to take place in this area here. This is where our monuments are going to be. So we're going to have to take down quite a bit of this area here and level it out, not to mention filling in little areas like this one here. So let's plan it out now. And there we go. It's not the biggest amount of earthwork we've ever done, but it is nonetheless a hefty amount of earthwork. So let's hit play and let them get to work. Fantastic. We now have a nice clean slate, and so we can go ahead and continue with the rest of the build. First thing I'm going to do is lay down limestone flooring as a base. Next, I'm going to plan out the first monument. Honestly, it's nothing special. It's just a bit of an archway. So there's the first of two monuments planned out. Now let's hit play and let them get to work. Oh wow, another new settler. And on the last episode of all episodes, I'd like to introduce you to Stacia. Now I'll put her in the ranks and get her to work. Fantastic. There's the first of the two monuments complete. Now the second monument and the final building that we're going to build in this series is going to be going right here. And it's somewhat of a gift from the settlers to King Sterling. So let's go ahead, hit play, and let them get to work building it. Okay, we've got a tad problem. A thunderstorm has hit, and as you can see, a fire is bloody broken out. Tell you what, that'd be right, wouldn't it? The last episode, thought I was going to get away smooth sailing, and a bloody fire has broken out. I also have to keep my eye out over here, because I could have sworn I saw lightning also hit this tower as well. So it may have caught fire, and I might have just paused it at the right time. We'll have to have a look. Nonetheless, the settlers seem to be collecting water ready to put out the fire from this river over here, but hopefully they can fix this fire before it breaks out. Well, that fire there seemed to put itself out. Though it looks like a fire's also broken out in the prison. This is not good. The prison is capable of burning down. There is quite a bit of timber on it. Here comes Harold to put it out. Oh, there goes the bloody roof. Yep. That was the bloody roof caving in there. They might want to hurry up and put this bloody fire out before things start burning down. It says that they're quenching fires, but no one seems to be bloody over here doing anything about it. And there we go. The fire put itself out by literally burning down the roof. Well, it's not the end of the world. We can rebuild that. Honestly, I think we got off lucky. That could have been a hell of a lot worse. And there we go. That's the final building, the Monument of Stirling, built. And personally, I reckon that turned out alright. Truth be told, I wasn't actually sure that that would work. And it's just another nice big structure that litters the skyline of Sterlington. Castle Sterlington has come a long way, so I think we should have a quick little look around. We started the first day of spring, 1353. It is now day 2 of autumn, 1387. 34 years have passed, which is 1,657 in-game days. And in those 34 years, we won 89 raids and killed 1,309 enemies. We received 27 settlers. We had 1 death. Wow, I didn't realise just how far I'd come until I'd actually seen the comparison between the way Castle Sterlington looks now and the way the environment looked at the very start of the game. And I'm not necessarily talking about the actual structure of Castle Sterlington, but the actual environment that I've built around it. I didn't realise just how much terraforming I'd done. Well, sort of, because, well, there has been a running joke the entire series about how much terraforming I actually do, about the fact that 90% of this series has been terraforming, so I don't actually know why I was so surprised at just how different the ground is. I raised areas right up, I dug out massive areas of water, moved rivers, leveled terrain. Honestly, I don't think there's much of this map that's untouched, because even areas like this one here that appear to be untouched, we all remember is not. But looking around at Castle Sterlington, at all its little nooks and crannies and all the little bits and pieces that I put in, out of everything I did, my favourite structure, hands down, has to be the amphitheatre. Now, it's not just because it was a hell of a lot of work, and it's not just its sheer size. It's actually more to do with the fact that it came out looking the way I planned. And when so many little bits and pieces went into it and any of them could have gone wrong and stuffed the entire project up, it all went to plan. And in the entire series, every single building I built, every single little project I did, other than the amphitheatre, I can't say the same thing for any of those projects. Throughout this season, every time I attempted something, I was guaranteed to stuff something up. Even right down to the temple, when I thought I stuffed up, so I moved blocks around, rebuilt things. Turned out, no, I was building it correctly, and then moving everything around, I in turn actually stuffed up. That was a pretty major stuff up. Now look, it worked out alright in the end. It did come out looking probably better than what it would have. But other than the statue dilemma, everything went to plan on the amphitheatre. So yeah, I actually chucked in that whole thing about the statues right at the end there, only because I, genuinely forgot that I'd stuffed up the statues. So it kind of makes that whole point mute, because it means that, at some point I stuffed up every single project I attempted. Woohoo! Now moving on. What's next? Well, right now, I'm going to drop down a sneaky little save. The reason why I've put down this sneaky little save is because one day, I might actually like to come back to Castle Sterlington, whether for the series or just have a bit of a play for myself. Might even be just to come back and have a look at that bloody amphitheatre. Yes, I really like the amphitheatre. But moving forwards, in this episode, from now on, I'm going to be using the dev tools, and there will be no coming back from this. Why? Because as I promised, I'm going to give Castle Sterlington a proper send-off. I'm gonna put her through her paces. So usually when enemies spawn, they might spawn with 2 or 3 trebuchets and a variety of maybe 10, 15 archers, axemen, sword and shield. Occasionally they spawn with siege rams, etc, but the point is, it's nothing really to worry about. We stand up on our high walls and just butcher the enemy, barely taking a scratch. Now it's time for things to change. I'm gonna come into the dev tools and I'm going to come all the way over here and I'm going to spawn trebuchets. Lots of trebuchets. How many? I don't know. We're going to play with the frame rate. Somewhere between 5 and 10. Probably start off at 5. If I can get away with 10, I'll get away with 10. And then I'm going to come slightly up and I'll start spawning enemy troops. I'm going to spawn archers. I'm going to spawn melee. And it's going to be a hell of a lot of them. And it's going to be never ending. I plan to bombard Castle Sterlington with one hell of a force. Wave after wave after wave, and find out if Castle Sterlington is as impressive as we've all been led to believe. They came in the dead of night, the settlers unaware, sleeping peacefully. King Sterling jarred awake to the sounds of all hell breaking loose. He quickly adorned his golden armour created to celebrate his accomplishment, the construction of the amphitheatre. He rushed to the gatehouse, and to his horror, he witnessed a sight unholy. An army like he'd never seen before. The settlers startled to the sound of the Sterling blowing the horn of war. They rushed to their positions, ready to fight to the death to protect their home. No stranger to conflict, the settlers confident that they were able to hold back whatever was waiting for them on the other side of the walls. Hubris maybe, but unaware of the sheer magnitude of the enemy's army, appearing out of the cover of night, as though magically materializing, attacking in waves, each more powerful than the last. The settlers stood their ground, let loose their arrows and held their shields up high, but it wasn't enough. The sheer number and the size of the army was just too much for them to hold back. The enemy army breached the gatehouse. The settlers retreated to the keep, standing and waiting on the landing. To their disbelief, the enemy swarmed into the castle as though ants escaping a flaming anthouse. They witnessed the fall of the courtyard, and then the enemy turned their sights to the keep. Once again, they couldn't hold back the almighty force, bashing down the doors. So once again, they had to retreat, fleeing to the walls of Castle Sterlington, fighting small skirmishes where they could, trying to keep their distance using ranged weapons as they watched in horror as Castle Sterlington, their beloved home, their keep ablaze with fire. The sounds of the unbearable screams, steel clashing against steel, the rain, almost poetic, sung down on the pauldrons of their armour, playing a hauntingly beautiful song of war. They held off as long as they possibly could. Now, I wish I could tell you that they fought and won the fight, that they held off their forsaken intruders. I wish I could tell you that they weren't lost to the sands of history, but unfortunately, this isn't that kind of story. Inevitably, in the end, Castle Sterlington fell. So on that sad note, I've had a great time playing Going Medieval, building Sterlington over the past 50 weeks, and I hope you've enjoyed it too. Unfortunately though, this is all the time that we have for today. So we must say goodbye to Sterlington, or at least for now. So thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.